Beginning Odd Dad Out podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Odd Dad Out podcast, the show about everything and nothing all at once. I am your host, as always, Adam Higgins, the Odd Dad Out. Tonight we're just gonna play it by ear like we always do. I'm just gonna throw some stuff out there and we're gonna roll with it and see where the hell my train of thought runs. So, without any further ado, let's kill the music and get on with this shit. Okay, so tonight I have to start off with kind of a retraction. And I say kind of a retraction, I'm not taking anything back that I said, but I have to correct some wording from last week's show because my wife took issue with the time when I said I had a kid. I had a new baby. She basically gave me the whole, you didn't have shit. I had a fucking baby. So, I'm sorry, honey. You're right. You had the baby. I just had to wait on you hand and foot for 9 months. Anyway, but that being said, on with the show. It's been a crazy ass week out here. If you've been following the news, and it's actually been in the news. Okay, we live out here, we're in Surprise, which is basically the suburbs to the suburbs to the suburbs to Phoenix, which I've mentioned multiple times. But out here, we're in Arizona. We have kind of wonky weather to begin with. In the last week, and this is just what the fuck is going on with nature. In Arizona, we have had 3 earthquakes and snow in the same fucking week. Now, it is just barely November. This is the first week of November 2015, for those of you who are listening many, many moons from now. And in Arizona, whereas like in Phoenix, we had 3 fucking earthquakes. And then up the ways like an hour north, we got fucking snow in the same week in Arizona. And yes, this sounds redundant, but it's Arizona. The world doesn't know that it snows here. And yes, I'm talking about the fucking weather. Why? Because it's made news. It's national fucking news that it snowed in Arizona. Not that it doesn't fucking snow here every year. There's a place called Snowbowl, and it's in north of Flagstaff. I think it's closer to the Grand Canyon, really. But I mean, the people ski here and do all that sort of snowy shit. You just don't think about it. People think of Arizona and they think of Phoenix and they think of Tucson. Basically the 2 worst examples of what the entire state of Arizona is like. Where Phoenix is just a big ass fucking city. That's it. Phoenix metro area. It is just big city. That's just what it is. It's like what they say, the 6th largest city in the country. It's just a giant metropolis. And that's where we live. Fucking big ass skyscrapers and freeways and shopping malls and a million fucking places to do a lot of different shit. And that's the city. This is everybody's vision of Arizona. And it's basically set in the middle of the fucking desert, surrounded by mountains. So you got mountains, desert, buildings. That's what people think of when they think of Arizona. They're 85% of the state. Never mind Tucson. Tucson's basically just a big ass college town in the middle of the fucking desert. And it sucks. You want to know how much it sucks? Watch the movie Hamlet 2. They basically devote like a 2-hour Kevin Smith movie talking, ripping into Tucson to the point where they wouldn't let them film the movie in Tucson. I think the last line of the movie is, it could be worse. We could be in Tucson. So give you the idea of how much Tucson sucks. People in Tucson don't always agree with that, but oh well. Who fucking cares? Somebody in the city council of Tucson's probably somewhere's going to listen to this and sue me. I don't care. But the entire rest of the state is gorgeous. And it's beautiful mountains and lakes and rivers and all the like hiking trails and go off into the woods. And when I was a kid, we'd go up into the mountains And I mean, in the middle of friggin', normal, everybody would consider pine forest. I mean, we're in the season now where they're issuing Christmas tree permits so you can go down and cut down your own Christmas tree. In Arizona, people do that. You can go cut down a fucking tree for your Christmas tree. No, it's not a cactus, people. A real tree. And I mean, we're in that season now. Even though Halloween was last week, now everybody's worried about fucking Christmas. But it's like, I'm sorry, I'm waiting until Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is coming up on top of my son's birthday. I've got other shit to worry about besides a holiday I don't celebrate anymore. But people are out there and they're doing Christmassy things in Arizona, and people forget that you can do this thing. And the state is gorgeous, and my work, and I've avoided the subject of what my job is greatly just to avoid getting in trouble with work. But my work at times takes me all over the state. I've gotten to go up, I think my second or third week on this job, I actually got to drive up to the Grand Canyon for the first time in my life. And in my entire childhood and all the years that I lived here, never gone to the Grand Canyon on my own. I had to go for work. And the only time I've ever been up there has been for work related things. Like, go up there, there's a place up there, we gotta work. And we drive basically the 4 or 5 hours it takes to get up to the fucking Grand Canyon to do 30 minutes of work and then drive all the goddamn way back down and spend the night in Flagstaff. It's ridiculous. If you've ever been to the Grand Canyon, it's I live here. I appreciate it. It's a big fucking hole. It's a beautiful hole in the ground, but it's a big hole in the ground, and you drive a long ass way to see a big hole in the ground. If it wasn't so far away, it's I guess because I live in Arizona, and those of us who live here, we don't really appreciate it that it's so close. I mean, when I've been up there, there have been people from China and all over the world who are coming to see this great natural wonder, which it is, and to them it's this major undertaking to go see the Grand Canyon. For me, it's a day trip. For me, it's an annoyingly long day trip. These people are flying across oceans and they're coming from Germany and China and Russia and Guatemala, wherever the fuck they're coming from. Insert country here. They're coming to Arizona. They're coming to visit the Grand Canyon. It's one of the wonders of the world. It's one of the most known natural things. It's up there with the fucking Great Wall of China and things you can see from space. It's immensely popular, famous location. And for us, it's around the corner. It's not a big deal, really. And for me, the best part of going to the Grand Canyon is getting the fuck away from the Grand Canyon, only because I'm going there for work, but because it's crowded and it's a long ass drive and it's just mind-numbingly long. You are away from civilization for like an hour before you turn off that road, and you are like away from civilization for somewhere about an hour. And once you reach civilization again, when you get up to the park, everything is so damn expensive because you're so cut off from the rest of everything. You don't want to eat, you don't want to sleep, you don't want to do anything. I understand why people like camp and sleep in tents and in trailers and shit at the Grand Canyon, because if you've ever seen the price of the hotels out there, it'd be cheaper to build a fucking house. Just put it that way. California has cheaper gas than the Grand Canyon. I'm probably not exaggerating that. I don't fucking know. Time adjusts some things. Today, maybe. Who knows? But beautiful part of the state. A gorgeous thing that exists in the state of Arizona that people dissociate from the state of Arizona. I know there's a shitload of national parks and things and national forests and all these preserves and great things across the state that people don't think about, I guess. that, like I said, everybody thinks Arizona, they think desert, they think Phoenix, they think busy airport, really big city, and desert. And even though we're this, notorious desert state, it's not desert. Very little of the state is desert. It's like the south central area of the state is desert. And even some of the desert areas are beautiful because you'll go south into Texas Canyon, which I still don't know why the fuck it's called Texas Canyon. That bugs the shit out of me. Texas Canyon, Arizona. It's annoying. Nothing in Texas looks like that. Just saying. But Texas Canyon, gorgeous area. Great rock formations. It's a great. I don't know what, like, the highway cuts through. And this is the I-10 of all things. Huge, major, fucking, interstate highway trucking mecca. I-10 goes right through these gorgeous mountain passes, and you'll see. I mean, these rock formations. I mean, there's signs all over that tell you not to deface the rocks and things like that. And they park this. There's a truck stop, like, rest area right in the middle of it. I mean, you can stop at Texas Canyon at just the freaking rest stop on the side of the road, which is huge, by the way. And it's gorgeous, and just look around and take a walk and look around at the rocks and appreciate the nature in the middle of fucking nowhere, Arizona, where the nearest, like, major thing is literally called The Thing, and it's, one of those roadside stops. It's a trading post. I think it's a Shell station built in. One of those places where you can go buy, roadside souvenirs. And then there's The Thing. Now, I will admit I've never been in to see The Thing, and they advertise this thing. You're about 5 minutes outside of Phoenix, and you start seeing signs for The Thing. You'll see signs for The Thing in El Paso, Texas, which is about 200-300 miles away from The Thing, 2 states away. You'll see billboards for it, but it's a thing. It's The Thing. My oldest sister, apparently took her kids through there one time because, like me, years and years and years of seeing this and seeing the signs and passing by every time we go visit mom or every time we go visit our grandparents or whatever we're doing out there. And she went and was like, you know what, fuck it, we're going to go see what the hell The Thing is. And so they go in. Apparently there's this whole museum and this tour and all these things you go see and tons of cool shit in there. I think it's like $1 to go actually see it. I just never wanted to spend the time. Again, I've got 4 kids. I've got an impatient wife. We're not going to sit there and walk through a museum or whatever The Thing is as a family. At least not, at current ages. Kids ranging from 6 years old to 3 months. We're not doing that right now. But, I mean, maybe I'd like to do it sometime. Granted, my sister ruined it for us, and she said exactly what it is. But I was like, hey, I'll still go. Because there's, she said there's lots of other stuff before you get to The Thing. The final thing at the end of the whole tour that you go through that you pay your $1 for or whatever it costs. You see a ton of little things, and then at the end is The Thing. And even though she felt like everything else in the tour was more interesting than The Thing, her kids loved The Thing. But, I love that it's always been The Thing. And for 30 years, I've still never seen The Thing. But that doesn't matter. What matters is it's there. And there are people that go out to see it. And it's been there my entire life, and it was probably there, way before me. When I probably could look it up, but that requires a lot more work than I'm willing to do over The Thing. But, out in the middle of the desert, in this beautiful canyon, lies The Thing. In an area of desert that is, for the most part, untouched. It's out there, it's all ranch land and things like that, which exists. People, Arizona is a highly agricultural state. We're not all fucking desert. It's not desert. I have to tell my wife this all the time. It's not all desert. Her idea to move here. It's not all desert, I swear. There's lots of stuff. There are fucking, in the city, Yeah, and go back into the, Phoenix is basically the worst representation of what the state of Arizona actually is, just from a visual standpoint. Um, you're gonna look at the racial makeup or the economic. I'm not getting into that. That's political crap and people nitpicking factoids and whatever. But if you want to get into like the what is so unusual about Arizona is that we are in the middle of the fucking desert, technically, an agricultural state. And even in the giant metropolis that is Phoenix metro area, Maricopa County, basically everything is fucking Phoenix, really, who cares? Um, I'm basically in like the last fucking suburb when people stop considering you Phoenix. But you'll be driving down the road, driving down major roads, you know, that cross the entire valley and go from commercial, and you'll see like strip malls and office buildings and dentist offices and all these sort of things, and then it'll abruptly stop and there's a fucking Arabian horse ranch in the middle of the road. And I mean, literally just drive down Thunderbird Road in northwest Phoenix, and you'll go from the highway through this commercial shopping area, and then the commercial stopping. Like, you cross the street and you go like a quarter mile and there's a big ass fucking Arabian horse ranch right there, like right off this major road in what was, less than a mile ago, major shopping area. And in another mile is a residential area, and another like mile from that is more shopping and a hospital, and like there, there's a fucking ranch up the street. There's a fucking Arabian horse ranch right up the damn street, and then there's a hospital. And like, don't things like this belong in the country somewhere? Shouldn't you be like far, 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 far away from the city? But there, and there's a shitload of these things. You find them in Scottsdale and Glendale and Peoria and all over, uh, out in the suburbs of Phoenix, and there's some in central Phoenix. Uh, South Phoenix is notoriously agricultural. I mean, you get south, much further south of the I-10 in Phoenix, and mostly in the West Valley area. And you'll get, besides the Indian reservations and all that shit, you'll get dairy farms like crazy. When you drive up the 101 freeway in Phoenix, and you cannot avoid, you see farmland all around, and you can't avoid the smell of the dairy farms. And if you've been out here or driven through farmland, you know what a dairy farm smells like. You know that this is cows. Let me see them. You can smell cows. And you know, and this is just driving across town. This is like, oh, I work on this side of town and I live on that side of town. You haven't left the city one iota, and you're passing dairy farms. And not like, big commercial silos. It's a field full of fucking cows in the city. What? Huh? What the fuck? And this is Phoenix. It's We are such a weird, twisted little city, and I find it hilarious that it is such an odd place, and that people don't realize it. And even the people that live here, they don't think about it. And I guess you don't think about where you live. What was the REM song "Stand"? Stand in the place where you live, or where the hell I forget how it goes, because I'd have to sing it, and I'm not about to sing it to find my place. Um, yeah, think about the place where you live. Wonder why you haven't before. Yeah, you don't think about where you live. You just go on with your life and do what you're gonna do. And it's kind of funny because you get yourself into this position, and unless you're unhappy with where you are, or where you're living, or what you're doing, or what's around you, you don't think about it. You don't put any consideration into the fact that you live in the suburbs of a major metropolis, and 2 miles away is a cattle ranch. And 3 more miles away is a horse ranch in the city. And the, you know, people like me, it's like, I analyze this shit. Like, because I notice it, I just observe. It's one of the fundamental great things about me is that I observe every fucking thing. It's annoying as all hell. And sometimes my brain doesn't process shit as well as it probably should. I've misviewed billboards on way too many occasions. Incidentally, we don't have a lot of those out here. Unless you are directly along the I-10, there's not a lot of billboards out here. There's not a lot of tall business signs either. You really don't see them. I know when my brother first moved out here, he moved from San Antonio, Texas, the land of a million fucking billboards, and it's just sky pollution. I hate it. I learned to appreciate why that we don't have billboards out here, but my understanding is they don't. It's just sky pollution. They don't want to screw with the skyline and all that and crowd it up with billboards. So they've cut it out. Cool. I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. But I've been guilty of misreading a billboard. I'll share this really sad story with you, because I'm sure my wife will bring it up. She would if she were here. Right now she's asleep. But there was a time we were driving. I forget where we were driving to. I think we were possibly just driving either to the boys' doctor or driving across town to get barbecue or something, because we don't have access to stuff in our little suburb here. But we passed what is basically the smaller. There are a couple of zoos out here, and over on our side in the West Valley, there is the Wildlife World Zoo. And immediately around, you get those signs like where SeaWorld or wherever, and you start seeing signs like, oh, exit here, or come visit here, and for a few exits they start bombarding you with signs to get you to stop and go to the zoo. And there was a particular zoo sign that had a girl on it, and what I thought was a giant fucking pizza. And I'm like, why the hell does the zoo have a giant fucking pizza on their billboard? This makes absolutely no sense. To which my wife simply responds, it's a giraffe. Yeah, I thought the giraffe was pizza. To be in my defense, we were driving by it at 65 miles an hour, and I'm driving. I'm not paying real close attention. I just happened to catch it off the corner of my eye because I'm observing everything and becoming aware of my surroundings. And the picture of the giant pizza on the billboard for the zoo struck me as odd. But I don't have the opportunity to turn around and, stop and, oh, it's a giraffe. To me, it was a giant fucking pepperoni pizza. I do that. I observe everything. Sometimes I don't observe it right. That was a particularly embarrassing case. Unfortunately, just about every time I've observed something really stupid like that, my wife has been present. And anytime I observe something really stupid, my wife shares it with her dad. So the next couple of times her dad will call me or anything, or I talk to him about anything, he'll like, oh yeah, so what was that? You're gonna eat that giant pizza at the zoo? Or, man, they've got some really big sheep out there in that field. Another story for another day. But, but that's just what I observe everything. I observe the city. I observe the oddness that is, where I live. And find the hilarity in everything. Because everything is funny. Because the world is funny and crazy and fucked up all at once. But it's cool that way. I love it that way. I love that the world is as fucked up as it is. because you don't have to take everything so damn seriously. Too many people are taking too much shit seriously in the world, and you just stop back and look at a billboard of a giant pizza giraffe. Why the fuck not? It's like there's too much seriousness. People getting butthurt over stupid shit. Just go out and have fun. Look at something, be silly. And I say this after telling my boys, you don't have to be that crazy all the time. But they're my kids. They're gonna be fucking crazy. They're gonna do stupid shit. That's just what's gonna happen. But they're kids. Like I've been blessed and cursed with 4 boys. I guess I've been blessed with 4 boys. My wife has been cursed with 4 boys. All the time. Why did it have to be boys? Why couldn't we have just had cats? And the simple explanation is we got married. You wanted to consummate that, right? Hard to do that and have cats. That's what it is. And those of you playing along, yes, I'm aware. There are ways you can get around that. We were newlyweds. Shut up. Anyway, off the subject of my love life, what are we looking at right now? Because I'm in my quest for consistency in programming. I'm trying to keep the show at hold on to that 30-minute time limit I got set up. And because I've found that it's a good number. I listen to since I've started podcasting, I started listening to a lot more shows. And they always say consistency is the game. Consistency is the big thing you always have to focus on. But a lot of these big ass shows are fucking inconsistent as hell. I've heard big time shows that will run that it's like, yeah, they're going to be an hour. Sometimes they're an hour and 20. Sometimes they are dead on to the fucking minute. It's an hour. Okay, time's up. Have a nice day. And other times they'll go and they'll interview somebody, talk for an hour and 45 minutes. Or they'll do 2.5 hours with a phone interview with somebody from somewhere because this is the one time they've got to talk to them. Split the fucking show up, man. That's just me. Like, I got a great interview. Why the fuck not do 2 shows? That's 2 episodes you have of content with one person. Why? Then you got your first part. Hey, I'm gonna release part 2 in 2 days. You'll get 2 shows out of the same person, and it's hard to come up with material for an episode, and that's why I do this the way I do it. I just turn on the mic. I started with a sorry, honey, you had the baby. You're right, and I jumped into the weather, and now here we are. We did I basically did a love letter to the state of Arizona, and I didn't even know what I'm going to talk about tonight. People do interviews. People interview way more important people than I'm ever going to talk to, because it's just not the nature of this show to talk to somebody important. But they fret over cramming it all together. No, be smart. Work smart, not hard. And I'm going to work smart, and I'm going to get things wrapped up tonight because I've veered off of the train tracks quite a bit tonight. In the meantime, you need to go on to odddadout.wordpress.com. You need to follow Odd Dad Out on Twitter. You need to follow Odd Dad Out on Facebook, Google+, everywhere else you can find. Comment, please. I want to hear from you. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me to shut the fuck up. I don't care. I just want to hear from you. I want feedback. You need to tell me. Until next time, I'm Adam Higgins, your Odd Dad Out. Thank you and good night.